welcome to Firstpost Spotlight, where we bring you stories that matter to you from all across the world. From breaking news to the day's biggest controversies, we shed light on issues that shape our world. I'm Alison LaGrange, live from Durban, South Africa. Let's begin with the top headlines. The Indian Embassy in Iran issues advisory urging all Indian nationals and persons of Indian origin to remain cautious and avoid all unnecessary movements amid Israel's attack on Iran. A federal appeals court restores U.S. President Donald Trump's ability to deploy the National Guards in Los Angeles, hours after a lower court judge ruled it illegal. Japan's defense minister says it is unacceptable for China to blame Tokyo for the close encounters between their military planes over the Pacific high seas last week. A Georgian court orders key opposition figure Nika Baramaya's pre-trial detention amid an escalating government crackdown on dissent in the Caucasus nation. And Argentina's inflation tumbles to a 5-year low with just 1.5% rise in May, adding momentum to President Javier Milei's drive to rid the country of chronically soaring prices. Hello and welcome. We begin with the latest from West Asia. Israel has launched a fierce barrage of strikes against Iran's nuclear program, killing some of the nation's top security chiefs and nuclear scientists. While Iran did not specify the number of people killed, it said 95 people were wounded in the Israeli attack. International monitors confirm that Israeli missiles struck Iran's main nuclear site south of Tehran. Footage from the scene shows thick plumes of smoke rising from the Natanz nuclear facility, a core hub of Iran's uranium enrichment program. Now, Iranian state media showed buildings ablaze in Tehran following Israeli strikes. Thick plumes of smoke were also rising from several residential areas. Emergency respondents could be seen in action, with fires from overnight strikes burning till the morning of the 13th of June. Residents in Tehran reported seeing Israeli fighter jets. Explosions were reported near a nuclear research center in Tabriz, the city in northwestern Iran, where state media also reported a major fire at the airport. Other sites hit include Kermanshah, along with the Natanz nuclear enrichment facility, Iraq, and Iran says that while Natanz facility has been impacted, 2 others in Fordow and Isfahan were not impacted. However, it remains unclear if these 2 sites were hit by Israel or not. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has named it Operation Rising Lion, describing the attack as a last resort effort to prevent Iran from gaining nuclear arms. Netanyahu warned Israeli operation against Iran would continue for as many days as it takes to remove Tehran's nuclear threat.
Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival. This operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat. We struck at the heart of Iran's nuclear enrichment program. We struck at the heart of Iran's nuclear weaponization program. We targeted Iran's main enrichment facility in Natanz. We targeted Iran's leading nuclear scientists working on the Iranian bomb. We also struck at the heart of Iran's ballistic missile program.
In a devastating blow to Iran's military leadership, Tehran confirmed the death of at least 3 senior commanders in the strikes. These include Mohammad Bagheri, the chief of staff of Iran's armed forces, Hossein Salami, the commander-in-chief of the Islamic Revolutionary Guards, as well as a key military commander overseeing the security of Iran's key nuclear facilities. Now, Iranian state media reported that at least 6 nuclear scientists were killed in the attack. They include top brains behind Tehran's uranium enrichment and nuclear research programs. As Iran prepares its no-limits response to Israel's strikes, the fallout from this confrontation has frozen air travel across the region. Skies over Iran, Iraq, Jordan, and Israel remained largely empty, with major international airlines cancelling flights until further notice. Meanwhile, a state of emergency has been declared in Israel, with residents stocking up essentials, fearing an imminent escalation. Israel has also warned that foes seeking its destruction will be eliminated. As the conflict escalates, West Asia holds its breath. The world watches, dreading the next move in this dangerous nuclear chess game. With red lines crossed and raging hostilities exploding, this conflict could be far from over. We told you about Israel's covert strikes inside Iran, targeting senior officials and military infrastructure. Now we're tracking how Iran is responding. Tensions have escalated fast, and here's everything we know so far. Iran has said that Israel's attack is, quote-unquote, a declaration of war. On Friday, the Iranian military fired over 100 drones toward Israeli territory, according to the Israel Defense Forces. These drones were launched hours after Iran warned that Israel would pay a heavy price for its earlier attacks. IDF spokesperson confirmed the drone assault, calling it an unprecedented attack. He said all aerial defense systems have been activated to intercept the threats. According to Israeli estimates, some drones could take up to 7 hours to reach Israel, depending on their range and trajectory.
In the last few hours, Iran has launched over 100 UAVs from its territory and towards the State of Israel's territory. All aerial defense systems operate to intercept the threats. It is important to adhere to the Home Front Command's instructions. They save lives. This is different from what we have seen so far. We are still in for rough hours. We must be resilient and patient.
In a statement, Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, threatened Israel, saying it has painted a bitter fate for itself. He also added successors of the commanders and scientists who died would resume duties immediately.
In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful great nation of Iran. The Zionist regime opened its dirty and bloody hand to a crime in our beloved country this morning and revealed its evil nature by striking residential centers more than ever before. The regime must expect severe punishment. The powerful hand of the Islamic Republic's armed forces will not abandon it, God willing. Several commanders and scientists were martyred in the enemy attacks. Their successors and colleagues will immediately resume their duties, God willing. With this crime, the Zionist regime prepared a bitter and painful fate for itself and will definitely receive it.
Iran has announced new appointments to head the Revolutionary Guard and the armed forces. Defense Minister Israel Katz had earlier warned of an immediate response from Tehran. The situation has triggered high alert across Israel, as well as preparations to withstand possible waves of missiles. In anticipation of an attack, Israeli hospitals have reportedly shifted to emergency mode. Non-essential services have been moved underground. Hadassah Hospital in Jerusalem discharged stable patients and cancelled elective procedures. The public has been urged to visit hospitals only for urgent care. Civilians have also been told not to panic by. Reports say Israel Manufacturers Association chief Dr. Ron Tomer reassured the public that essential industries will stay operational and food, medicine and other supplies remain available. Air travel has also been disrupted. Airlines have relocated aircraft from Ben Gurion Airport as part of an emergency plan. Meanwhile, the U.S. State Department has already moved some embassy staff out of the region and has asked others to shelter in place. Beyond Israel, regional airspace has started shutting down. Jordan, Iran and Iraq closed their skies due to the escalating situation. Jordan's military said it intercepted several missiles and drones that entered its airspace and threatened populated areas. Iran has also requested an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council. Tehran submitted a letter asserting its right to respond in a decisive, proportionate and deterrent manner. Iran's military leadership has also issued a warning saying its retaliation will have no limits. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that Israel's strike against Iran was unilateral and that Tehran should at any cost avoid hitting U.S. personnel or interests. But Iran's state media accused Washington of being complicit in the operation, while the U.S. tried to distance itself from the matter. While both sides brace for what may come next, the world hopes this confrontation doesn't spiral further. And staying on with the escalating tensions in West Asia, following Israel's widespread attack on Iran's nuclear facilities, West Asian nations have raised an alarm over the dramatic escalation in the region, and reactions have also been pouring in from all across the world. Although some Arab countries have been at odds with Iran themselves, they united in condemning the Israeli strikes. In a strongly worded reaction, West Asia powerhouse Saudi Arabia, which has long been a Tehran rival before reconciling in 2023, has condemned Israel's strikes on Iran, calling them heinous attacks and a violation of international law. The United Arab Emirates, too, condemned the attack in the strongest terms. Turkey has also called on Israel to put an immediate end to its aggression that could lead to further conflicts in the region. As retaliatory Iranian drones directed toward Israel entered Jordan's airspace, the kingdom said it won't allow any violation of its airspace and that it will not be a battleground for any conflict. Iraq, Qatar and Lebanon too condemned the strikes on Iran. Oman, which is a mediator of the Iran nuclear talks, called Israel's approach dangerous and called on the global community to put an end to escalations. Speaking of the Iran nuclear deal, US President Donald Trump warned Iran to make a nuclear deal fast and stop the slaughter. In a direct warning to Tehran, Trump also said that the United States makes the best and most lethal military equipment in the world, and Israel has a lot of it and knows how to use it too. Trump asked Iran to make a deal before there is nothing left. Meanwhile, Iran announced on state television it will not participate in nuclear negotiations with the United States on Sunday and until further notice. Russia has condemned and expressed concern over the sharp escalation in West Asia. The Russian missions in Tel Aviv and Iran have issued a warning recommending citizens to refrain from visiting Iran. The UN nuclear watchdog head, Rafael Grossi, said that nuclear facilities must never be attacked and called on all parties to exercise maximum restraint to avoid further escalation. The IAEA added that there were no increase in radiation levels at Iran's Natanz uranium enrichment site after being impacted by Israeli strikes. India's Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson said the country was closely monitoring the evolving situation and urged both sides to avoid escalation. India said it has close and friendly relations with both Israel and Iran. Meanwhile, China said that it is deeply concerned over Israeli strikes on Iran and offered to help ease tensions.
The Chinese side is deeply concerned about Israel's attack on Iran and is deeply worried about the severe consequences that such actions might bring. The Chinese side opposes violations of Iran's sovereignty, security, and territorial integrity. We oppose escalating tensions and expanding conflicts.
Following the attack, several major airlines have suspended flights. to and from multiple locations in West Asia. These include Qatar Airways, Emirates, Air India, and German carrier Lufthansa. We will keep bringing you the latest updates as more reactions continue to pour in. And moving on to our next story, finally shifting our focus to India, the country continues to reel from the impact from the Air India Boeing 787 plane's crash in Ahmedabad. The death toll from the crisis has risen to 268, with just one person surviving the tragic crash. In the latest, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited the site of the crash in Ahmedabad. Prime Minister Modi also chaired a review meeting with top authorities. He visited the city's civil hospital and met the lone survivor of the plane crash and other people injured in the incident. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also met with the family members of the former Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani, who was on board the crashed Air India flight. Prime Minister remembered his old BJP colleague as a humble and hard-working man of the party. Now, the crashed plane was carrying citizens from India, Britain, Canada and Portugal. The lone survivor has been identified as a British citizen. In that regard, India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, said that he was in touch with his counterparts from these countries. Investigators have recovered a black box recorder from the crash site of the London-bound passenger jet. And India's Directorate General of Civil Aviation, or the DGCA, also held an urgent meeting with Air India. The civil aviation body directed the air carrier to submit the health report of all its passenger aircraft. Air India Chief Executive Officer Campbell Wilson also arrived at the crash site. The airline said that the investigation would take time, and plane maker Boeing said a team of experts was on their way to India to help authorities in the probe. As India mourns this devastating loss, investigations in the coming days and weeks will uncover what went wrong. With international cooperation and a promise of transparency, authorities hope to bring closure to families and to ensure such a tragedy is not repeated. And that's all we have on the show for today. We will see you again at the same time next week. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to Firstpost.
From breaking news to the day's biggest controversies, shedding light on the world's top headlines, detailed analysis on the stories that matter the most to you. Catch it all on Spotlight at 6 p.m. India time and 12:30 GMT, only on Firstpost.